Good morning, traders. This is Barry Wilkie with StartupTrading.com. It is 2 minutes till 9 a.m. Eastern Time on Monday, November 4th. Uh, Tomorrow is E-Day, Election Day. So, with Thursday being FOMC Day. So, my question remains, what will we know first? Whatever, the quarter point that the Fed's going to drop on Thursday for certain, or who wins the presidential election. I think it's pretty much a toss up at this point in time, but we will find out. I hope we have results by then, but we'll see. Looking at Friday's session, we had you know, the the lines or the levels that we were watching. So we had 2238.50 for the Russell, and then it went up to that level and then come back down. So basically, it was just an inside day right inside of value for the Russell. Looking at the other indexes, they were slightly more bullish, uh, with the Dow being the most bullish, right? Even though it was a pop and a drop, basically, it just come back to right around where the open was for the Dow and the ES. We did repair some poor structure for the ES, and then you can see price tried to stay above this 57.89 level, and then just you know lost it after lunch, and then just returned back down into value. So it just parked right in the middle. So basically, the auction was you know, failed to the upside and just returned right to where it was. No one wanted to pay the higher prices. They were, unfair, as you will. Similar action for the NASDAQ, just lost that a little bit later in time, but it lost it. But it did not get back into value. It just stayed in this value area high zone and really didn't have any follow through at all. There was no anomalies for Friday session. And we still have, I want to leave this thick yellow line here. So this 57.25 is just it's yellow because it's a cautionary level. Uh, that is still for this week. If price starts trading below there, there's potential for a much larger flush to the downside. However, until that happens, that's the bottom of the range that you're trading against at this point in time. So you can see we, you know, ended Friday about uh, 35 points above that level. And then as we, look at the rest of it, not a lot going on as far as structure. It was just, basically a lame session. Looking at the week, and this is what I really like to do each week is, where should the volatility be? It goes without saying that as soon as we know the election results, for the president, the House, and the Senate, right? That is going to have an effect on markets as people try to play out what they think that means for anything. It'll be short-lived, but that is, there will be some, repositioning, if you will, around that time. Other than that, the big event for the week is basically the FOMC. And again, this is going to be on Thursday this week because they didn't want to do it on Wednesday, right? They're giving themselves a little bit of room for the results to be known, right? And hopefully that decrease in volatility, coming out of there. For earnings, there are no major earnings for this week. There are, a slew of earnings, but nothing major. For positioning for the week, there's still really nothing. You know, that really sticks out for the Qs. You can see 480 is still basically the bottom end, not only for today, but for the week at this point in time. And then you got 487. The Qs are currently trading 487.33, so we're just above this support level. So if it gets lost, we could, get a recheck of 485, and then you would need some help really to get below 45. So you're looking at about, potentially, you know, if you lose this next 10 to 20 points, you could get another 70 to 80 points to the downside. However, holding up there, you're just screwing around up to 490. There's potential that we could just, park between 485 and 490 for today's session and really not go anywhere or do anything. Uh, Looking at the SPY in the same way, the SPY is currently trading 571.41. And as we look at that, you can see there's a little bit for the week at 570. But if we look at today, you can see that basically if you get down to 568, if you get a rising VIX, you could easily drop another 40 points and go and test 465 to 464, right in the range. And if there's upside momentum for whatever reason, uh, 580 should be your lid, and that would be, I think, a little bit of a shocker, but it's nothing says it's out of the realm of possibilities because that is where the largest gamma is for the week at this point in time. But that would be uh, at this point about 85 points higher than we're currently trading. Looking at the cash market, you can see there's really not anything that sticks out more than the others as far as a large, much more outsized position for the week or for the day. So I think we beat up positioning. So not a lot really going on for positioning at this point in time. It's really tight as far as the differences between the positions that are far away from each other. So there's really nothing holding. Uh, there's really no floor or no ceilings uh, on price for the week, right? It's really open ended as it should be because with the elections and the FOMC, it could be very volatile, meaning that, to be honest with you, I think that on the lower side, you could recheck potentially 5,500 sometime this week on the lower side for the ES, and to the upper side, you could get a test of 6,000. So that is a large 500 point range that has, I think, potential to trade today. Not that it will, but it would not surprise me in the least if we saw that. So I think you really want to watch. Today should not be a trending day, but it doesn't mean that it won't be. But odds favor that it's going to be a tight day. So the first thing I'm going to be watching is Friday had 2 points of control. You had 57.78 half and 57.60 half. The 60 half was what it slid down to after the bell. So it slid down in that first 15 minutes before options expired for the day. It slid down another 18 points. So I want to see, if you're making traction below 57.60, we're trading 61 quarter at this point in time, or if we're making traction above, uh, let's just call it 57.80. And then you can see that, you've just got 5,800, so maybe only a 20-point run. And then if you break into that, I would think that 58.21 has a high chance of being the upper limit for the day on just an average go nowhere, do nothing day. And if we look at where we're at in one time framing and a little bit uh, from our swings back and forth, I'm still watching this 20,251 quarter uh, for the NQ. And you can see in the overnight session that has, right around the high of the session. The high of the session is 48.50, so pretty much in the same ballpark. Uh, what would be interesting to see if we get a test to the downside would be 864. I would not really be looking for too much for there. And you can see there's a bunch of highs. If you go back to August 27th through September 3rd, there's highs right at 19,930. So I would say between 930 and 864, that should be where support should come in. And I would think that when you test this low the first time, that you should at least get a pause and price down. If you go through there, you'll probably just get a tight consolidation under it as it forms potentially a bear trap going into tomorrow's session. And then looking at the ES, and I've talked about this 57.25. It's, you know, you can't, make this up. This is, the textbook trader wet dream here. You've got, all these highs from August 21st to September 4th, and then you went through that level on September 17th through the 19th, right? 3 days, battling around there, resolved to the upside of that. Uh, Kind of took out this swing high, did not get a reversal, right? You got that liquidity push. You went back down and just did a perfect recheck of this 57.25, and then you went up to 5,900, so 175 points uh, up for the ES at that point in time. And then you can see it's pretty laid out. So your levels that you're really watching are this 57.25, 5,800, and 59. Let's just call it 15 for the sake of argument. Coming back below it, you should get that retest of 56.75. I would, if if we end up breaking down and you're short and you end up catching it short, I would lay off just before this 56 75 level uh, on a first test coming down here just to see what happens, or just really tighten up your trade management by a lot as you come into it. Maybe only runners under there to see if you can break it. But I would expect a pause in this, and that would probably be all you get, especially if it happens today or tomorrow. Once you start getting election results, and remember there are 7 to 9 swing states in this election, so those are the only states that the results matter in, right? We already know what's going to happen in the other 41 to 43 states. So you really only need to watch those 7 to 9 states and start doing the deltas on those as results come in. And my guess, you're probably not going to know anything about those 7 to 9 states uh, firmly until late afternoon on Wednesday. But we will see if there's anything more than that. Uh, Looking at the overnight action, 44 points for the ES, and as we look at where we are, we're trading in value area low between settlement value area low for the Russell. We're getting a recheck of this 20,116, and obviously we're below that 251, right? And then we're below this. We have a split at basically at 200. You have one at 200. You have one at 114. The one at 114, although I have it just with the dots, it's more of a major level. It's been tested on and off about 6 or 7 times at this point in time, and it is a decent above or below level. So unless it gets whitewashed, right, you can assume that that is probably a good level that if you get below and get back above, it should be a long. If you get below it and you recheck it and it holds, it should be a short, and you could potentially take out that low. I don't know if you can get all the way down to 19,905 today, but that would be the next target down. And at that point, if that's trading, you should also be getting this 57 quarter that should be getting a test. And then what I think would be just poetic justice is if, we close on this 57 quarter today, right? And then tomorrow and overnight, you just, that's when Pandora's box potentially starts opening up for volatility, and we'll have to watch the VIX. I should have done a little positioning chart on the VIX just to see, what the magnet levels are, but that's really what you're going to want to watch is just the movement in the VIX more than you normally do in your trading. You're going to want to watch the VXN and the VIX over the next, I would say, over this entire week. And if it's got a trend, right, the market should be moving opposite of that trend, right? So you don't want to trade like if the VIX is trending lower for whatever reason, you don't want to be trading short the equities uh, until you see it flip. You don't need to catch the the swings perfectly in these equities. It would be better off to catch the second move after a top or a bottom than it would be to try to catch the top or the bottom and be a participant in the first move, in my opinion. So keep that in mind for the week. You should probably think about what size you're going to be trading, or if you are even going to trade certain times this week, or if you just want to sit on your hands after tomorrow's polls close until the results are known, or just take very, outside trades. If this level drops 150 points below where we're currently trading on the ES, I'd be interested in looking at longs on a second move after that bottom is, proven, or if we flash up to 6,000 on the ES and we start pulling back on that second move, trying to take the short at that point in time potentially. Uh, you don't need to be a hero this week, I guess is what I'm saying. I hope this helps. You guys have a great day, and I'll talk to you tomorrow on E Day.